Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the star line by a doctor, illustrator, and most importantly, a mom. You've seen her writing and illustrations in The New Yorker, Vogue, BuzzFeed, and the Brown Daily Herald. Her latest book is Mom Milestones, the true stories of the first 7 years. We welcome Grace Farris.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Grace, let's go beyond the mic. How much of your own frustrations of being a mom went into this book?
Oh, I think many of my frustrations are probably in the book. I think there's a whole page on mom tantrums. So any of those tantrums I've definitely experienced.
I think we've all seen those tantrums, either by doing them or seeing them done by others.
Yeah.
You're a talented illustrator as well as author. Why was this project easy for you to deliver?
Well, I've been drawing these mom comics for a few years now. And I think using this framework of having a milestone book, it's kind of the flipped version of the baby milestone book where we're looking at mom's milestones. So using that kind of format also helped structure it a little bit. So thinking about mom's 1 day old, what are her milestones today? Babies 1 day old, they can barely open their eyes. Mom's 1 day old, she can also barely open her eyes. So I think that was definitely a helpful way to shape it.
How has this book allowed other mothers to say, look, I'm not alone in these struggles. I thought it was just me.
Yeah, I hope. That's definitely the intention of it, is that, it's lots of comics and illustrations. And so it's meant to be accessible even when you're feeling like a zombie because you have, intense sleep deprivation. You can open it up and hopefully there'll be something relatable. I think when you're just starting off, you don't realize how universal a lot of the experiences are, and you feel like it's just you who's struggling or dealing with some of the challenges. But most of the things, even the things people say to you, people are experiencing all over the world.
What's the worst toy you gave your kids that you second guessed? For me, it was giving my son a set of drums.
Oh.
But now he's teaching percussion, so that was acceptable.
That's not bad. That sounds awesome.
What's the worst gift you gave your kids?
I think there have been many. My mom was looking for a Christmas gift recently, and I said, they have these microphones that you can, that are that you charge now, and they're karaoke microphones. So I was like, maybe that would be a good present, but if you get them, you should probably get one for each child, because otherwise they'll fight over it. And she got them, and then I was like, what was I thinking? Why did I ever encourage this? That resulted in them standing in our front yard, 8:00 on Christmas Day, in their microphone, saying over and over again, fart, who farted, fart, who farted. It's I hope the neighbors don't mind this. Oh my God.
That's a bad idea. It's time for the Rocky and 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Grace, there's no pressure.
Okay.
Biggest challenge, dealing with residents or newborns?
Newborns.
Favorite ride at Universal Studios?
Ooh, whatever is a lazy river, the least scary ride.
What's your typical Don Juan taco order?
Oh, anything with guacamole.
Tell me the best parenting book other than yours.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like Lucy Niley has a really lovely comics book about her pregnancy and birth story.
Before you were a mom, what was the favorite thing that you used to do that you don't do anymore?
Probably stay out late, socializing.
That's out the window. When was the last time you found yourself stuck on Mopac?
Trying to get over to visit a friend at a very specific playground that didn't seem that far away, but started to seem very far away when we were stuck in traffic.
How do you resolve conflict with your kids?
Oh, I think sometimes humor will work, although sometimes it doesn't because it'll be too high stakes and it'll be too emotional. And then sometimes distraction works really, really well. And then bribery is the, last line of defense.
Always good to use bribery for a little bit. What's your favorite way to spend a Sunday?
Ooh, let's see. You know, I like to read the newspaper, and then if we can, like make the kids, go with me outside, either like a march. We live by a creek, so they like to play in the creek sometimes. And then we live in Austin, so go swimming and see family.
It's time for the back half with author Grace Farris. Her book, Mom, Milestones, the true story of the first 7 years. Beyond the Mic. How did your life change during the pandemic, especially taking care of COVID patients in New York City?
Oh, yeah, I think, that was like such an intense experience. And I feel very grateful for that time because I got to be, I worked so closely with my colleagues, and like just the level of collaboration and teamwork was just amazing. During that time, my kids stayed with my mother-in-law in Connecticut, so I didn't see them for 2 months. And that was, also very formative because I think that now, having gone through that, it makes me feel like, okay, people didn't like die during the pandemic for me to like get into a big battle with the kids over screen time, so it just makes me feel like a lot more gratitude for, the times that we have and when we get to do fun things, and hopefully makes like the small things seem like less of a big deal.
What's the one thing that you want your 2 kids to experience from your own childhood?
Oh, well, we moved back to Austin, and so that has been like really lovely because, I grew up in Austin, and so there are very specific things here that I like, to see them experiencing. Like even the smell of the mountain laurels is like a very evocative memory for me. Taking them to the pools here in town, having them sit for a photo with the bluebonnet, even when they're like, whining and the sun's in their face.
What's the one thing your husband took off your plate?
He has really leaned into cooking, which I've never been like a big cook, and he has gotten, partly because we moved to Texas, he got a grill, he got really into grilling, but he's also, definitely like just leaned into dinner prep way more than I ever could. And that's been great for everybody. As
a 2020 hospitalist mover and shaker, what's the one key thing you want to see change in the healthcare industry?
Oh, that's a good question. I would love for there to be like universal healthcare. I think that would be better for everybody. That would probably be the biggest thing.
It's time for One Big Question with author Grace Farris. Beyond the Mic. Grace, what's the one thing you wish was a little slower for your kids? Something that you could experience with them again?
Oh, no, that'll make me cry. I think more slowly. I think just these that age when they go from being like 4 and 5 to 6 and 7, like that's just such a charming period where they're like all of a sudden like blossoming into this like person in the world. And I have my 6-year-old's about to turn 7, and so I definitely think that period is like, it's just really special.
Humor and bribery resolves issues with her kids. She loves playing on the river and rather deal with newborns than residents. Her book is Mom, Milestones, the true story of the first 7 years. We thank author and illustrator Grace Farris for taking the time to talk with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a good day.
And that, my friends, is a Beyond the Mic shortcut.